Free, free. Everybody loves free. Hey everybody, so as my dropshipping version of this video was very popular, I decided to do it again, but this time for print on demand. How much money do you need to start a print on demand store? And as you will see, if you make certain choices, you can get started for the very low cost of free. Yes, to get started, you've got two options. You can go the free route or you can go the option where you invest some money to get started. But honestly, the truth is, if you want to earn big money, you really need to be prepared to invest some money. But don't worry, if you can't, don't get discouraged, because as you're going to see, you can get started if you need to with these free methods and then use it to build up capital so that you can reinvest that money back into your print on demand store. 1. How much does it cost to start a print on demand store? How much this costs depends entirely on whether you want to open your own store or whether you want to use a third-party platform. If you want to use a third-party platform, then yes, this can be absolutely free. Here are two very popular options for free third-party print-on-demand stores. The first is, of course, Teespring. This is a website that lets you set up a free store where you can sell your own custom products using their built-in print-on-demand app and functionality. Just like with eBay, where you can open up an eBay store, with Teespring you can open up a store on the website. This is an example of a store that has sold hundreds of thousands of dollars with its birthday-themed t-shirts. Signing up for Teespring costs nothing. It has lots of different products that you can create and sell in your free Teespring store too. Once you've come in and made your products and listed them, when a customer comes in and say buys this t-shirt for $19.95, Teespring removes their fees and costs and then pays out the difference as profit to you in the form of a commission. For this t-shirt, the fees and costs are $10.57, so if you were to sell it for $19.95, you would be paid $9.38 as a commission for selling it. Another popular free option is Amazon. A lot of people out there generally don't know this, but Amazon actually has its own print-on-demand app and functionality built into the website. It's called Merch by Amazon. To use it, you do have to submit an application, and while not everybody gets accepted, lots of people do, including several of my viewers and subscribers who had no previous experience. So if you're interested, Google advice on submitting a great Merch by Amazon application and try it. It's very similar to Teespring. Once accepted, you can come in and use their product creator to create your own products. And just like with Teespring, it is absolutely free, because if you come in and sell a t-shirt, Amazon won't charge you any money. Instead, they'll take the money that the customer paid, they'll remove their fees, and they will pay out the difference to you in the form of a commission. So for this product here, the commission, if you were to sell it for $19.99, would be $5.23. The products you create will each have their own Amazon product listing. In addition to those, there are two other great third-party websites that I recommend that you consider if you're looking to start a print-on-demand store. 1. You can open a print-on-demand store on eBay, which gives you 50 free listings a month. Now, eBay doesn't have any inbuilt print-on-demand functionality, but you can integrate print-on-demand services like Printify and Printful directly into your eBay store. And 2, you can open a print-on-demand store on Etsy. Like eBay, Etsy doesn't have any built-in print-on-demand functionality, but you can integrate free print-on-demand services like Printify and Printful directly into your Etsy store. Etsy was a third-party selling platform like eBay that originally focused on handmade products, but it's expanded over time. Lots of successful print-on-demand stores have flourished on Etsy. And this here is an example of a six-figure Etsy print-on-demand store that I've highlighted previously on this channel, specializing in t-shirts themed around cities. Some of their biggest selling products are their t-shirts which feature city airport codes, such as their very popular LAX t-shirt, which is an awesome gift for frequent travelers like me who go through LAX a lot. Unlike eBay, listing products is not free on Etsy. Each listing costs 20 cents, but it lasts for 4 whole months. However, unlike with eBay, where t-shirts sell for around £10, i.e. around 12 to 13 USD before shipping, on Etsy, because it's a higher end marketplaces, print-on-demand stores like this can charge much higher prices. Smash Transit are selling their t-shirts for $30. So yes, third-party marketplaces, they can be a really great place to get started selling on. But here is the reality that 6-figure and 7-figure print-on-demand store case studies that we have featured on this channel, All of them have been on stores that have created their own domain using Shopify, not on free third-party websites. And that is for multiple reasons. And I'm going to show you one of the biggest reasons right now. So I'm here on Amazon, and here's a moderately successful print-on-demand t-shirt someone is selling on there using the Merch by Amazon program. In the past month, this t-shirt sold for around $1,000 to $2,000 worth. Now, I'm filming this very early December, and so as Christmas ramps up, so will the sales for this massively. Here is the thing though, if we scroll down here, we can see that Amazon is trying to upsell us to more products, which seems fine, right? There's just one problem with that. The product's down here, but they're trying to upsell us to? None of these products belong to the creator of the t-shirt. And so when Amazon upsells customers to these other products, you get none of that money. Whereas if I was selling that product in my own website, then I could control everything. All of the other products sitting down here, these are mine. All upsells I give to the customer, they are for products that I'm selling and I'm profiting from. That's why you make way more money selling products in your own store. You get to control the customer's journey. In addition to that, the profit margins are definitely higher. Take the classic unisex comfort t-shirt. Teespring charges $10.57 for it. This higher cost means that a free Teespring store is usually best combined with a free traffic source like an Instagram or Facebook page. Whereas Printify, a free print-on-demand app and service that you can integrate into online stores like Shopify, charges just $7.10 or $5.47 with a premium Printify subscription. That's almost half the price, which makes it much easier to work with paid traffic. If you want to sell in your own store on your own domain name and not sell in an online marketplace like Etsy or eBay, then you usually have two choices. And while WooCommerce can be a great option for people who have web development and web design experience, for most people watching, they'll likely want to choose Shopify, since it's designed specifically so that people with no web development or design experience can build professional-looking stores like this fast by themselves without needing to hire an expensive professional to help them. In that case then, you're going to discover that Shopify has 3 payment plans. $29 for a basic plan, $79 for the standard plan, and $299 for advanced Shopify. Here is the reality. For 99.5% of you watching, the basic plan is going to be absolutely perfect. In addition to that though, you're also going to need to purchase a domain name. I always recommend that you buy a .com domain name unless you're building a store that plans to sell to one specific country, such as Canada, in which case you could purchase the Canadian specific domain name .ca. But unless you plan to do that, I recommend choosing a .com domain name, which currently costs $8.28 a year on Namecheap, which you can then connect to your Shopify store for free inside the admin area. To do that though, you will need to have a little bit of technical know-how and know how to set up something called name servers. Now, for someone like me who's had a lot of experience selling online and setting up stores, name servers are not a problem. But I recently helped my sister set up a website that became extremely profitable, by the way. I quickly realized though, for someone like her that doesn't have any technical experience, whenever she saw anything like name servers, which was jargon for something that she didn't understand, it stopped her from taking action. And so the truth is, unless you already have experience in buying and setting up domain names and changing things like name servers, I recommend that you just buy your domain name direct on Shopify for $14 a year and let them connect it to your store automatically. Alright, so you've purchased your domain name and your Shopify plan, and that's it. To set up a store with Shopify, all you need to do is set aside $29 a month and $14 for a domain name. And no, you don't have to pay for a theme. The free themes inside of Shopify are great for 99% of new stores. My current free themes I'd recommend are Simple and the Supply theme. But if you do have some additional money to invest, there are 2 things that I'd recommend that you prioritize. The first is a professional logo. This is my favorite logo gig on Fiverr, and it costs $5 as a one-off fee. I'll link to it in the video description below. The second is Placeit, a tool that lets you create lifestyle mock-up pictures that convert much higher than your standard product on a white background picture that print-on-demand services give you. This is $15 a month to download as many pictures as you want, and again, I'll have a link to this in the video description below. Both of these things do have free solutions if you are budget strapped. You can create your own logo, you can create your own free mock-up pictures. However, doing both of those things is quite challenging if you don't have any technical or design experience. And both of these are simple, cheap, professional solutions. And something that may surprise you, as I was literally talking about this being an advantage earlier, is that I don't recommend that as a beginner you purchase an upsell plugin. For example, one premium Shopify app I really like is the Smart 7 Bundle Upsell. This is an upsell app that makes it very easy to add beautiful upsells to products. The only catch is that this app costs $47 a month. That is more than a Shopify subscription itself. Ouch. But here's the thing, new stores don't need to purchase it. Apps designed to increase your average order value by getting customers to purchase additional products from you at once are only useful in stores that are already consistently selling items. And so the reason why apps like this are able to charge high prices is because once installed in a store that is selling items consistently, they are essentially just free money, and the $47 a month very quickly pays for itself. So is it worth $47? 100%. Once you start making money. Once you start making money, you're going to be incredibly eager and happy to install it. But do new store owners need to purchase it? No. And by the way, if you are appreciating this transparent advice and you would like even more videos on how to create a print-on-demand store, then be sure to subscribe to Wholesale Ted and click that little notification bell next to it so that you don't miss out on any of our videos. 2. How much does it cost to create print-on-demand designs? One of the advantages to print-on-demand compared to dropshipping is that you get to sell unique products that nobody else is selling, which is awesome. Of course, the flip side to that is that you need to create those designs. Now, how much money you're going to spend here is going to come entirely down to how much time you're willing to invest into learning how to utilize graphic programs. For example, while I'm hardly a Canva expert, I've spent a fair bit of time playing around with this free graphic design app. And as a result, I was able to create a replica of this successful print-on-demand t-shirt that made over $300,000 on the print-on-demand third-party site Viral Style. And I created it using just the free open source options inside of Canva in less than 30 minutes. Of course, I definitely don't recommend that you just copy other designs, but tweak them and use them as inspiration for your own. Using a previously successful design as a base for editing it and making your own version is how most successful print-on-demand products are made. Apps like Canva are often a lot easier for beginners to use compared to something like, say, Photoshop. For multiple reasons. One big one is that Canva has a lot of free open source graphics included already. Canva also has a huge amount of fonts, which is important because what you'll quickly find is that the successful word-based designs like this one highlighted in our case study video on how to make $10,000 a month with a print-on-demand store are, well, quite wordy. This means that they're easier to replicate and redesign yourself compared to illustration-based designs. That is, if you have access to lots of great looking fonts. Thankfully, Canva does have lots of free open source fonts installed, ready for you to use. Canva is very beginner friendly, which is why I teach how to use it in my premium print-on-demand training program, the Econ Clubhouse. If you're interested in joining my premium video training course, I'll have a link to it in the video description below. Of course, if you have graphic design skills, which is awesome for you, but you don't want to spend the $10 a month on a Photoshop subscription, you can use the free open source version GIMP. Of course, if you do want to create something more complicated, such as a successful 6-figure Teespring design, then yeah, unless you're a graphic designer, you'll probably want to hire one to create something similar. My personal recommendation for finding highly rated graphic designers who are willing to do one-off designs for you is to come to Fiverr. On here, you'll find several highly rated designers who will create t-shirt designs. In general, you should be prepared to set aside $15 to $25 for each design made by a Fiverr artist. 3. How much money do I need for marketing? So you've set up a store, which is great, but a store will not make you any money unless you get customers in the door. So for you freebie hunters out there, here are some free methods to do that. One method we've discussed on this channel is by doing what this print-on-demand store Mugdom did, and that is by taking advantage of free search engine traffic from Google by making some modifications to your store to make it Google friendly. I have a free 30-minute video tutorial on this channel which gives you some great SEO tips, and if you're interested, I'll have a link to it in the video description below. And if you've chosen to sell on free online marketplaces like eBay and Etsy, then you can use their internal search engines to get free sales and customers too. Yay! And of course, another method that we've talked about extensively is taking the time to create and build up a social media following and then directing that to a print-on-demand store. So for example, this engineering Facebook meme page, the creator of it uses it to advertise his free Teespring print-on-demand store, which has made hundreds of thousands of dollars selling t-shirts and products that are designed to appeal specifically to engineers. On the other hand, while free is always nice, free does have another cost, and that is time. It's not instant, and if you want fast money, that isn't the strategy for you. Plus, if you want these sorts of results in your store, then the reality is you'll need to take advantage of paid ads like Facebook ads. Paid social media ads are the fastest, cheapest way to drive high-quality, targeted buyers to your store, and plus, unlike free methods like Facebook meme pages, with this strategy, you can scale your traffic and your sales up and up and up. So let's say you've created a t-shirt and you really like it. How much money should you budget to advertise for it? Well, what I recommend you do is you set up a Facebook ad campaign for it. And you set your budget to be $5 a day and you run your ad for 3 to 4 days. If your ad breaks even or it even makes a profit, then that's awesome. You can go in and you can gradually increase your ad budget. So for example, you could go from $5 a day to $10 a day in ad spend. And start installing paid apps like this that will make each sale even more profitable. In the industry, we would call this a winning product and a winning ad. And of course, if a product's not a winner, then what you do is you kill the ad, you take another product and you take another ad and you run another $5 a day test. In the industry, we have a name for this. It is called testing products. And a common question that I unfortunately get asked a lot is this: Sarah, how long is it going to take for me to find a winning product using tests? And honestly, no one knows. This is market research, and market research is a crucial part of running a successful money-making business. Even the most successful print-on-demand stores that I know still don't know if a product is going to be a winner until they test it. As millionaire print-on-demand store owner Michael Shih once said in one of our case study videos, we need to let the market decide. The truth is, for pretty much every successful e-commerce store out there, most of their money is made from a small number of products. Most of the products that you add and try and test in your store are not going to be successful sellers. In that case study, Michael had to test several products before he found his winning one. But when he found that winning product, you know what? It paid for itself in spades. So budgeting to be able to run ads for multiple products is very important if you want to replicate this strategy. Since it's impossible to know how many ads and how many products you're going to need to test, I no longer say things like, oh, set aside enough money to run 20 ad tests. Instead, what I say these days is set a minimum daily budget that you can comfortably spend until you find your winning product and ad. This is the most sustainable way to create a successful money-making business. Keep things simple. Ask yourself, how much money can I afford to invest into my business each day until I am successful? For example, you might decide that you can afford $5 a day comfortably simply by choosing to swap out that $5 fancy Starbucks coffee for one product ad test a day. In my opinion, it's not worth it to go into debt or to spend money that you really can't afford just to try to rush this process, especially because rushing through something new in life often leads to mistakes. I was recently getting my eyebrows redone by a new lovely beauty therapist. And as I was lying down, she said to me, hey, my boyfriend, he loves your videos. Earlier this year, he created a successful online store that was making tens of thousands of dollars just by watching YouTube videos like yours. And I was like, oh man, that's awesome. Tell him congratulations. And she's like, yeah, well, see, the thing is he was making tens of thousands of dollars, but now he is very much not. And I was like, oh, no, what happened? And that was when she told me the story about how he, unfortunately, discovered the fourth hidden cost to this business. 4, the cost to fulfill your customers' orders. So a question that I'm often asked is, Sarah, if a customer orders a print-on-demand item in my store, who pays that print-on-demand service for it? Me or the customer? The answer is simple. It is you that pays for that item. So let's say a customer comes and purchases this t-shirt for $21.95 from you that you made with Printify and added into your store. Well, what happens is that Printify takes the credit card that you add into your account and charges it the price of this t-shirt, which is currently $7.10 or $5.47 with a Printify premium subscription. So what happens to that $21.95 that the customer paid you? Well, if the customer paid with Shopify payments, what they do is they collect the money, they remove their processing fees, and then they pay it out to you later. It can be as quickly as a few days. If you're brand new, the money could be held for a few weeks. And the same goes for PayPal if you've added that as an option. It can take up to 3 weeks for PayPal to pay you. What that means then is that if you don't have $7.10 set aside to pay Printify, they can't start your order once the customer has made it. And frankly, this expense of having to fulfill customers' orders is bizarrely something that people just don't talk about. And so this is why, even if you do have the money to run 20 different t-shirt ads, you should probably think twice before you do so. Because you don't want to run 20 ads at once and then have a bunch of products that are actually successful and then be like, oh man, I'm really rich. Oh wait, no I'm not, because I don't have any money left to pay for the 50 t-shirts my customers have paid me for. And so because of the fact that this just doesn't get talked about that much, this is what happened to my beauty therapist boyfriend. He had a winning store. He had a profitable store. It was making him money. He found his winning product and he was like, oh damn, I am rich. Let's scale this product ad up and up and up as fast as humanly possible. And you can see where this is going. He scaled his ads too fast and he increased his ad budgets massively rather than gradually. And so sure, he got a lot of sales, but he didn't budget for actually purchasing those products for his customers. And so his store went from this to this when he had to refund all of his customers' money since he didn't have the cash flow to buy the products for them to receive them in the time frame that he had promised them. Now, luckily, he has learned from his mistakes and he's not going to let it get him down and he's going to start again, but this time much smarter. So how much money do you need to budget for this hidden expense so that what happens to him doesn't happen to you? Well, the good news is that depending upon how you're actually setting up your store, this might not even be an issue for you. If you set up your own store, say on Shopify, and you're using Printify, Printful, or another print-on-demand service like that, then yes, you will need to budget for this expense. There is no way around it. The good news though is that if you have any sort of a credit card, then usually credit cards will give you 4 to 5 weeks to pay them off, so you can use them and set aside no money at all. If you don't have a credit card though and only have a debit card, that is fine as long as you scale your ads gradually. If you do that, then $200 to $300 should be more than enough money to set aside. But if you instead chose to open your print-on-demand store on Teespring or Merch by Amazon like we were talking about earlier, then they are commission-based websites. And so this isn't actually an expense you need to worry about then, so let's take this t-shirt here. Teespring charges $10.57 for it. When a customer comes in and buys it for $19.95, Teespring takes that money, removes $10.57 from it to pay for their t-shirt and fees, and then pays out the rest to you as a commission, which in this case here is $9.38. As long as you have either a PayPal account or a free Payoneer account, Teespring will pay you this commission. No credit card or additional money required. So I hope that this video helped you, and if you would like even more free print-on-demand training, then you should be sure to download our free ebook, The 6 Steps That Six-Figure Online Stores Follow to Make Over $10,000 a Month, and you'll find a link to download that free ebook in the video description below.